Football is back. West Ham is back. West Ham beat QPR in a friendly 4-1 today. My name's Anton. I'm joined by Stel and Nigel. How are you both? And I'll let you two talk about the review today because both of you watched the game.
Well, we thought, oh, hang on. Sorry about that. Let me turn my phone down. We thought we had the scorers, didn't we? Well, I think we do have the scorers. And then whilst we were waiting to go live on air, we've been given about 5 million names, only 11 players on the pitch, and we got about 16 goal scorers. Don't know how that one works out.
So, Nigel, according to sources close to the club, can you confirm or deny any of these goal scorers? Did Haller score a goal today?
I think he made 3 of the lists that we've seen. So I'm guessing
I think we're pretty certain
he is one that we can nail down as scoring one of the possible goals that the club will not confirm that we did score.
Yeah.
So, even though they confirm we won the game.
So just to give people a bit of a catch up on what's happened today, West Ham have played a friendly game today behind closed doors against Queen's Park Rangers. It was all on the hush hush. Do we know reason behind why that was also hush hush, Nigel, till last minute?
I mean, I could speak out of turn and say that I think David Moyes didn't want it. He wanted it kept quiet and he didn't want anything coming out. But I won't say that because that'd be speaking out of turn. Plausible deniability. I may have heard that, I may not.
You may not have done. And our audience may or may not have heard that too. Yeah. I mean, we're getting comments saying score not confirmed. We absolutely know the score is confirmed at 4-1.
Yeah.
What we've been trying to do, the reason why we delayed going on air is because there has been an awful lot of speculation as to who the goal scorers are. Now, we've already named one of them, and we believe quite clearly that Haller has scored a goal. And there are rumours that Haller has scored 2. So we will bring you the goal scorers, and we'll feel fairly confident that they are the scorers that we will announce. But we've been frantically trying to confirm. But I think what's important is that it's been a good run out for the team. It's been 3 months since we last played. There's quite a number of pictures of the game. I'm sure many of you would have seen them online already. And it shows quite a few quite a few players. Like, for example, we know that we've got someone like Xande Silva had a run out. Jack Wilshere's back. Who else? And Creswell. And Ayeti's played and Creswell's played. So we've got quite a number of players who we expected to see play. But we've also got 1 or 2 players who are maybe quite surprising. Xande Silva, we know he was training with the squad. Would we have expected to see him have a run out? Probably not, I think.
Well, I don't know, to be honest. Well, I don't know, to be honest, though, still, because I actually think we've said it all along, when football does return, and Nigel, you were on one of our shows during the lockdown as well, and you were kind of saying it's an opportunity for the club to kind of hit that reset button. For everything really, and that includes giving Wilshere an opportunity. Like, he's had 3 extra months to recuperate from an injury. All these players, Silva's come back from a not a great situation, so he's had the time to come back and recoup. So for me, I didn't expect a full. I wouldn't be surprised if there was shed loads of substitutions throughout the game, giving all these players an opportunity, because I doubt that many people would probably be playing 90 minutes for the first game back, although maybe they would, because we've got the league starts next week, a week today. Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going through the pictures that I've got here, and we've got Creswell, Masuaku. I've seen Fredericks in the background of one of the pictures. Fornals, Haller, Souček, Bowen, Rice, Xande Silva. The only one I haven't seen that I'm worried about is Fabianski. I don't know if we played a goalkeeper.
Augie was in goals.
We
Augie.
cannot confirm that Fabianski or Roberto was in goal or Randolph. We possibly may have played rush goalie. And that perhaps excuse why QPR got a goal.
Why do you think, just out of interest, before we kind of try and get onto a review of this game, why do you think the club are trying to be so secretive about this one in particular? Why would they not think that people would want to know the score, want to know who played, to try and suspect or expect what it's going to look like when we come back? Because it could be a completely different West Ham this time next week.
Yeah, but perhaps that's because they don't want the opposition to know. Why give them an early heads up? It's obvious. You've got 2 games to get players fit in what we got 10 days till we play. Yeah. So there's 2 games that we know about. This is one. There's supposedly another one coming up at the weekend or just after. You would imagine that they would try and start with the 11 that they want to go with, because you need to get them the first 11, get an understanding. If you want to, we ain't got time to bed into a season. We've got 9 games to stop us from going down. So you need to get the 11 people that you want as your first team playing together now. So you don't realistically want to put out who started and who did what, because it may alert, Wolves they wouldn't have had scouts at the game. At the end of the day, it's a behind closed door. Well, it's quite funny, really. It's behind closed doors, but obviously every game's going to be behind closed doors. But, the reason why clubs have behind closed doors friendlies against teams not in their league is so no scouts can get a drift of the setup and the way they're going to play. We've got to catch Wolves sort of cold with what we're going to do.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it makes a lot of sense to actually play quite a lot of players in this game, because everyone's got to try and get as close to being match fit as possible, because you never know what injuries we might have between now and the first game. You never know whether, God forbid, anyone's going to catch the virus, which will put them out of any games coming up. So it kind of makes sense that quite a lot of the squad have appeared. I think for me, it's kind of surprising that someone like Ayeti and Silva have played. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just slightly surprising. I didn't see any photos of Yarmolenko, and I think he's certainly a player that I hope had a run out today, because I think he's going to be quite important to us in the run-in. But there's certainly one player that certainly we haven't seen a photo of, and that's the man of the moment, isn't it? And Ngakia. He's not been in any of the photos, and it's highly unlikely he's going to get to play in a West Ham shirt again, unless I'm mistaken.
I think we need to forget about him still. I think we've got to stop using his name. Just wipe him.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm sick of, is it this, is it that? The bloke don't want to play for us. If he wanted to play for us, he would sign the contract.
Yeah.
But, forget about the money side. Does he want to play for us? If it's yes, he would sit down and he would get a better deal and everything. He don't want to do it. So let him go. Stop.
I agree.
Stop pulling ourselves apart. Why are we arguing amongst ourselves over him when he don't want to play for us?
And we also saw in the game that was played at the ground, the West Ham game itself before today, we saw photos of Ben Johnson playing in that game, the West Ham 11 against the West Ham 11. So I think I think you're absolutely right, mate. I think it'd be, despite the fact that he's only played 4 games, I think it'd be too disruptive to have him around. So you're absolutely right. Forget about him. Let's move on. I think we've got enough cover in that position. I think Fredericks can be underrated sometimes. He hasn't had a great season, but he's an all right player. And with Ben Johnson behind him as well, I don't think we have too much of a problem there, to be honest.
So what we do know about today is the fact that West Ham had a 12-foot fence erected around outside the stadium. Is that right?
Yeah,
12-foot or something
like that.
From what I've seen, is they've put barriers across the bridges. Now you've got to remember, we've got an island, so I can't imagine that they've built a fence the whole way around the stadium. Is anyone going to swim across the canals? in all seriousness, to get to a game that they can't get into.
Well, apparently all the hooligans from Chelsea and West Ham are going to do that, aren't they? They're all going to gather up and beat each other up outside.
Perhaps we could have like a Viking longboat fight on the River Lee Navigation Canal, but knowing our luck, we'll be on one canal and they'll be over on the other one, and we won't make it round in time. But
so of course that's to stop any form of crowds. I mean, there's still probably going to be people turning up on match day, obviously distanced away from the stadium, etc. But do you think how do you think the whole setup in terms of the players turning up? Do you think they walked out to the music? Do you think Bubbles was played on the tunnel walk up? Do you think it will get played in a Premier League game, or is today's game just going to be the most basic handshake? No handshake. Sorry, because that's not allowed now. And then straight into the game. I mean, people, loads of questions. There's so many comments coming in. People are asking about what was.
I've never seen it so busy on a Nine United chat page.
Don't put a dislike on our page.
Oh dear, what's going on? Is there like a free packet of days or something with every comment? Or
it's because everybody is waiting for the goal scorers. That's what they're waiting for.
Your show still they don't watch. Ooh.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. I mean, at least you do. At least you watch
right, it.
Yeah. All right. Should we give people what they want? What we believe we know are the goal scorers.
Go on.
Well, Allaire is definitely one of them. That's for sure.
Right.
Shall I go on?
Well, why don't you do the four that you were told, and I'll do the four that I was told.
Do the four that I was told, which is Allaire, Ayeti, Antonio, and Fornals. Those are the four that I've been given.
So I was led to believe that Haller got 2, Anderson scored, and Fornals scored as well.
Right.
So that's what I was led to believe.
But,
so,
there is a kind of sense of what you said, Nigel, about Moyes not wanting much to get out from the game. I get that, probably, to be honest, because there was probably an opportunity for West Ham. I've said it during the lockdown. I said it when football does come back, and if it is played behind closed doors, much as I don't want it to be done like that, that probably, some of the players might like it and not feel the pressure. And the pressure off their shoulders. What are you saying? Go for it.
No, someone's put something that's just made me laugh. So
I've seen it.
We knew it was coming, Nigel. That's why the numbers are up. Yeah. Jay, you're banned from the group, mate. That means we're down to 7 viewers on a Sunday night.
But
oh dear.
I've even lost my train of thought there. What was I can't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, you were saying that you sort of understand why Moyes wants to keep it all a bit under wraps. But I don't see the problem in necessarily naming the goal scorers. To be honest with you,
I don't see the problem in naming the starting lineup. To be honest, either, because is the starting lineup going to be the starting lineup that starts next week? I mean, what we do know is Ogbonna looks like he's struggling with a bit of a knock and might not probably be available for next week.
Well, I mean, we've not seen Ogbonna, in the pictures at all. So,
he's definitely there. He's got a mask on. There's a picture of him, but he's on the sidelines. But it looks like there's some rumours kicking about saying he's picked up a knock and he won't be available for the game. To be honest, so I think it looks like maybe Diop and Balbuena in the centre half pairing.
Yeah, I mean that. I mean, if we tried to get second guess what the team would be at the back, and if Ogbonna is out, Ogbonna was possibly heading towards Hammer of the Year.
Yeah.
Even though possibly I would have picked Snodgrass, to be fair, but Ogbonna's been probably head and shoulders one of our best defender.
Okay, that's smile off your face still.
So, if we lose him, Balbuena, we don't know if he was a one-season flash in the pan or was he just because he was definitely out of form at the beginning of the season. And it's why he lost his place. And we know what Diop can do. He is a bit of a beast, but he does have a mistake in him. and he needs Ogbonna next to him.
Well, this is interesting because Anton and I have had a long-running debate over decent defenders, and I rate Ogbonna. I get why some fans maybe don't like him, because he has been caught out of position a few times over the few seasons. But But then at least he's been there to play, and he's been a stalwart. And I think that the rumours are that he should be back in time for the Wolves game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sat out today. But I would also not be surprised. I think we've got Palace on Saturday, haven't we? Or sometime this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays some part in that in order to try and get him ready for the game against Wolves. Because I agree with you, Nigel. I think he's an important part of our defence, and I think he's very underrated. So I'm hoping he's back strong enough to play, because if we know Creswell's just coming back from a slight niggle, and Creswell played today, and with Ogbonna and Creswell side by side, and then Diop and Fredericks the other side of the defence, I think that's probably the best defence we could have at the moment. So Ogbonna is vital.
But then, they've not played for 3 months. They're back at training, and what does Moyes do? Is Moyes going to go on what the season's done, or who's performing to the highest level in training? Because players can come back from pre-season, and player can be different. Because this, in theory, these 9 games is like a new season.
Yeah.
These 9 games is just like a mini league that's happening within this league, where teams have had 3 months break and been training, whatever, etc. And they may come back. I mean, Lanzini may find form, may be doing top notch in training, but he wasn't getting a look in, come the end of middle of this, or whatever you call last season or this season, So I don't know if we can look too much into the starting lineup, to be honest, come these next couple of games, because I mean, unless you disagree with me, I mean, Nigel, what's your thoughts? Do you think that the lineup we start with Crystal Palace is going to be the lineup that we do against Wolves? Do you think there's going to be big changes in comparison to what happened at the Arsenal game before COVID took over?
I think there'll be a big difference. It is a shame. While we were losing games, we were playing well. We had the Liverpool result where we lost 3-2, which was a fantastic performance up at Anfield. Unlucky not to win it, let alone, to not get a point. And the worst thing about that is that we showed how shaky Liverpool were. And then the next game, they went and got beat 3-0 by Watford.
Yeah.
So whether we softened them up and Watford took advantage, I don't know. Then the Arsenal game, we were unlucky. We beat Southampton. If I'm thinking right, we did beat Southampton, which is only Moyes' second win, was it? And one win since December. So performance-wise, we were doing well. The results weren't showing it, but then we were coming into what we believed after these 2 or 3 next games coming. Then we had our run. We got to be at the races realistically from day one. This is the problem. While it does feel like this is a pre-season and this is just going to be, the players, we don't want them going in with this is the start of a new season mentality. They've got to realise this is a nine game season, and frankly, if we get 2 points less than 2 of the teams below us, we're going down.
Yeah.
And that affects their livelihoods.
Yeah, it's interesting what you've been saying, Nigel. You've been following the German league, and how many home teams have not won since lockdown. Now, I think for us, in a way, I don't think that matters, because London Stadium hasn't necessarily been a great stadium for our home team. So I reckon not having fans there might take the pressure off. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, it's not home anyway, is it?
Well,
I had to say that. I don't want to disappoint people. They know, they think I'm always going to say it, but no. There may be a freedom. There's a tension at the ground for definitely for this season, but that's because coming from the performances. In the games where we did play well, there was no tension. So the fans feed off of what they're witnessing on the pitch. Now, obviously, we're not going to have that, and that may free the players up. But then,
and I think people forget that there was the same tension at the Boleyn. You know, there were games there. People forget that, you know, when the crowd's on your back, it doesn't matter where you're playing. You know, whether it's London Stadium or the Boleyn. I've been at games where the crowd have not turned on the team, but given them enough stick. You know, and that gets you tense as well.
Listen, it goes back. You can ask some of the old school players, and going back to the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, they would say, you know, that if we were having a bad game, the last place they wanted to be was over on the east side, staring at the chicken run fans, because they would be giving them dogs abuse. You know, it's gone on, you know, but generally, if we're seeing a performance that we think, you know, even in the old days, if we lost, but they put in a game, I always arc back. I remember we got beat 5-1 by Leeds. Now, we had 3 players sent off. We got beat 5-1. And me and my mate walked out of there and said, mate, banged on renewing our season tickets because we had a great game. We got beat 5-1, but we put up such a fight. You know, I think we lost Ian Wright. I think it was Ian Wright, Lomas, and then Craig Forrest even ended up getting sent off. But we kept fighting, even though we lost 5-1, we kept attacking.
Yeah.
And nobody booed, they didn't get booed off or anything.
Because we put the effort in.
Because we could see that the players that were left on the pitch put the effort in. So if the players put the effort in, the crowd ain't on their back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But they ain't got that to worry about, have they? To be
no, listen, and that's the thing. That's the thing. I think the Wolves game, we can not relax, but we don't. They won't have that crowd pressure.
Yeah.
You know, so that in a way, even though that, you know, going back to the Bundesliga, even though in a way it looks like home advantage hasn't been an advantage, by, you know, the West Ham players at the London Stadium not having the crowd on their backs could actually play in their favour. You know, may not necessarily play to the opposition's favour.
So if we win all our own games, do you think West Ham will petition to keep behind closed doors for next season?
Nigel, we've spoken about it before. I can see it being a relaxed. The players will have that. I think it will be pressure off of them. I really do. And I think I can see West Ham it playing to West Ham's advantage, to be honest. I'm saying that now. You know, I was thinking when I was driving home in the car tonight, I was sitting thinking to myself, is this me doing the whole kind of pre-season blues where I get really excited for the new season and I always predict West Ham will finish higher than what they do and our striker will score 20 odd goals, etc. And then quite firmly within 5 games, my dreams don't become reality. It's all a nightmare and we're back in for another relegation battle, etc. But I do get this feeling that not having the fans and not having that pressure may benefit these next 9 games, but then it may have a positive spin for all the other teams,
the opposition as well. Yeah. But it's been good. What Moyes has done, even though apparently he got in trouble for it, he's played a few games, you know, in the squad or in the actual stadium to get the players acclimatized to playing without a crowd, and I think that was a really good move. And I know other clubs have begun to do it as well, but we were the first, if that's correct, and that's a really good thing that he. Yeah, it's a simple thing, isn't it? But it's kind of a clever thing to sort of get the players with the mindset to forget that there's a crowd there.
Well, he played 2 teams of West Ham, didn't he, against each other? Right. And apparently we still didn't win.
Listen, QPR have released a statement. QPR have released a statement on their website. It doesn't tell you about any of the goal scorers, but what it does is maybe hint at maybe what potentially happened in the game. So Mark Warburton was able to get important minutes into the legs of 23 of his players. So all 23 players of his squad came on the park and played. In particular, in the latter stages of the game, he gave a run out to quite a lot of his youth players that have never played before in the first team. So if you're getting the vibe that that's what they've done, I wouldn't be surprised why you're seeing images of Ayeti, Silva, and some of those, you know, younger players, giving them a run out to see who's hungry for this, you know?
Yeah. that's not a bad move.
Perhaps it tells the story. Don't get carried away by the scoreline then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't get carried away. Yeah. I mean, a friendly's a friendly. I don't put too much, I don't care much about the actual scoreline. It's more about getting the players a bit more match fit, isn't it? Of course, a win's good to have at any time, but
Yeah.
I'd rather we make sure we have the wins when it's important.
Is there not some crazy stats from the past, though, Nigel? You know this is the historian West Ham man, but don't West Ham historically not have better seasons when we have a crap pre-season?
I believe 85-86, which was the good year, as it become known, because we don't have that many.
The vintage year.
I believe we did lose all pre-season friendlies.
Yeah. And I believe something similar happened the year we finished 5th in the Premier League.
Yes, we had a good under Redknapp.
Yeah.
So that was 2000. Yeah, we did have a good pre-season then. But then we had a good pre-season and then got relegated. Under Avram Grant.
Yeah.
So,
but that was more Avram Grant than the pre-season.
Well, you can, yeah, but he was good in the cups. Come on, still. But that geezer won more cup games than he did in the league. I mean, that's
the sooner we put that in the midst of our history channels, the better, really.
But listen, if Avram Grant weren't so bad, yeah, then people wouldn't have accepted Sam Allardyce. So I think it was a trick and a ploy by the owners.
Bring in the shittiest manager you could find.
Yeah, so you hire someone totally out of their depth, and it makes the hiring Darth Vader seem palatable.
Yeah, but remember, Darth Vader was second choice over Martin O'Neill.
That is true. That is true. That is true, yeah.
But listen, I mean, there's loads of people in here. They're asking for the highlights. We don't have the highlights because I don't believe there are any highlights.
There aren't any highlights. We're lucky to have got photos.
I've got my Sabutio here. I could get a couple of people out, but unfortunately, I've only got the red and blue teams. So one of them's got blue tack on, so he's obviously injured. That must be Wilshere. So I could reenact it. What we think some of the goals.
So what obviously I like that idea. That's quite a good idea. I wonder if that's a kind of innovative way of doing a Sabutio game.
Yeah. We don't need to pay any rights either.
I'm actually trying to get the photos up of the highlights, and they're not appearing for some reason.
No, they are. They are. Every time you do it, they're coming up.
Oh, I can't see them on my screen. I wonder why that is. So there you go, lads. If you want highlights, we got Rice heading the ball there, Bowen kicking the ball there.
Go back though, because he's playing against Jordan Hugo, who has
Rice Declan. Yeah,
who's obviously extended his loan deal at QPR.
That's correct. And we had Souček, who's extended his loan deal as well. They got my good old friend, I mean, the best left back any club would ever want, Arthur Masuaku. And even Jack made a run out there. So, what you guys can see, I can't see that on my screen for some reason.
Yeah.
Right, and but Cressy appeared as well. So, people, there's your highlights. So, should we go back and just confirm who we believe scored? I've said my 4, Nigel. Did you say yours? Forgive me if you have.
Yeah, I said it was Haller. What I was told was Haller 2, then Anderson and Fornals.
And I'm kind of inclined to go with that because I think we've been fed a duff from
Who fed you the duff?
From a fella we all know so well.
Yeah. And see, I know not to trust his duff.
Yeah, exactly. And I will repeat the duff that I've been fed because I was told it was a Yeti, Allaire, and Antonio, and Fornals. So we got 2 of the 4 right. So we're pretty sure that Fornals and Allaire scored. And I'm inclined to think it was. I can't believe a Yeti scored even in a friendly. To be quite honest with you.
To be fair, there's a picture of a Yeti. I don't know if you've got that one. And the ball's at his feet, and the goalkeeper's on the floor.
And he missed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're arse. Well, you know what a Yeti's good for, a Jetty's good for, don't you?
Go on. What?
Parking your boat next to it. But anyway, that's about all he was good for, to be fair. We're being harsh on the player. He might be really good in the Championship next season.
Before we
Do you think we're going down, Nigel? Seriously, mate.
I think obviously it's tough to call because every team is starting equal. So where before I would have had money on Sheffield United to beat Aston Villa, I'm not so confident now.
Yeah.
You know, even a point is good for Villa. You know, if they win the game, that keeps us out. You know, then we're level on points with the team second from bottom, even though we'd be fourth from bottom.
Yeah.
So it causes a problem if Villa do anything against Sheffield United, because that's a game nailed on. I think Villa would have got beaten.
Yeah,
and maybe not now. But then I think you could argue the same for some of the games we got coming up, where we're kind of thinking Wolves is a prime example, which is our here we go. Someone else said Yeti, Allaire, Fornals, Antonio. So see, we're getting so many. That's what I've got. Yeti, Allaire, Fornals, Antonio. We're getting so, but you know, Wolves is the game that I would have said, had the season continued, Wolves is the game I would have turned around and said, even though it's at home, we're not getting anything out of that. But now,
no, I don't think you're right there. And I tell you what, we got Spurs up after that, and I had a ticket for it, and I thought that we were actually going to beat Spurs. Spurs had no Harry Kane. I think Son was out. I think Vertonghen was out. You know, they're all back now. So I think it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it is. But you could argue, and I think I know we all kind of feel a bit of doom and gloom when we talk about Wiltshire, but you could argue that having someone like Wiltshire back and having someone like Yarmolenko back, I think both of those players are going to be pivotal to the rest of our season. Because I've been looking at you know, for my sins, my punishment, I've been looking at some of our games this season, especially early season. Yarmolenko was knocking the ball in for fun. You know, every time he got the ball anywhere in or around the 18-yard box, he turned on it. He's a big fella and he's not fast, but the way he turns and then he whacks it in with his left foot, he was scoring all night. He scored quite a few goals. And he did that last season before he went injured. And then there were even, you know, shots of Wiltshire. He was playing kind of regularly at the beginning of the season, and you could still see the technical ability that he's got. Now, I'm not suggesting that either of those two players will start, but I reckon either of them coming on or both of them coming on during the game, even against someone like Wolves or whoever we play, they'll cause problems. You know, I actually truly think I can see other teams being stronger. They've had the benefit of the you know, the lockdown, but I think we've benefited from it as well. Someone said, Phil, Wiltshire pivotal. He would be. I think he's the sort of player that can come on in the last 20 minutes and thread a ball through for you know, for a goal. He can do that.
The problem with Wiltshire is he was definitely an international. I don't want to say world class. It was an international top Premier League class player when he was fit. The problem for him is he hasn't been fit for 5 years now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. Yeah.
So this is what we've got to see. But generally, he is fit in June. So we'll see how he gets on.
Well,
like Andy Carroll, you know, Newcastle are probably going to get the best out of him. He might even score in June. You know.
What about Yarmolenko then? I mean, he's
he blows hot and cold, but you know, we've seen what he can do. You know, we can all point to Everton away, but let's face it, there ain't a lot of games we can point to with him, is there? But he's had his injury problems.
Situation, he's gets what, a run a couple of games. He has a bad half and he's pulled off, and then he's not starting again. That's my biggest issue, I suppose, with West Ham in the most recent years, is there's never been consistency. So when Yarmolenko was given a run of games, like you said, during the Everton period when he scored that brace, he looked decent. Then he obviously picked up the injury, didn't he?
Yeah,
got a bad injury.
Game, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then when he came back, and he scored that goal. Who was it against? Was it Southampton? No, Norwich. Who was the goalie he scored for this season, earlier in the season? And then he went over to the sidelines and hugged the coach, etc.
That was in our good month, wasn't it?
Yeah,
talking at the start of the season.
But the thing is, he was kind of pulled off again over the next couple of games and not given a run of, So, like you say, you can pinpoint the games, but it's a bit like the management, the style, the coaching of. We had Hernandez. We didn't play to his strengths. We've had Sebastian Haller. We've never played to his strengths massively. We don't really play to these players' strengths, and it's the most frustrating thing. Listen, quickly, a point people are asking, you've seen there at the bottom, a Premier League player has been tested positive from COVID-19. So that player for that club will now miss the start of the season. I don't know if you've seen the information that came out last night from Manchester United and Stoke City's friendly game. That was postponed. The manager got tested positive. But what they haven't announced is that anyone in and around the manager or anyone in and around the players who test positive go in isolation with these people. That confuses me first and foremost. And then secondly, that will have a big impact on the season because, we could be coming up against Wolves the day before Wolves and 3 or 4 of their players could go down with COVID-19.
Yeah,
and then
apparently the Premier League have said that if you can field enough players, then you play.
Yeah.
So, and apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, even if you have to field enough players with players from the under-23s, then so be it. So we're going ahead whether we like it or not.
Well, look, you have a 25-man squad, yeah, and that does exclude academy players and players up to the age of 23 that come through and build as academy players. So you can have technically 28, 29, 30 players, possibly in your first team squad. You must be able to, and you should be equipped. I'm not saying it's that. If a player goes down with COVID-19, then he's treated as an injured player. So, and if you've built a team and a squad properly, you then have another player to come in who plays in his place.
Yeah.
Of course,
but I guess the danger is if half the squad go down with it. But I guess that's an issue that we'll have to see what happens when if and when it does happen.
Yeah,
we've had someone else, CJ. He said what you've said, mate. Allaire to Anderson and Fornals.
And I've just had someone text me saying Socek. Madness.
Well, we're being given duff information, aren't we? So it's either going to be a Yeti, Allaire, Antonio, and Fornals, or it's going to be Allaire twice, Anderson and Fornals. So there you go. But we'll try when we finish this. We haven't got much longer to go.
That is the picture
a Yeti
of a Yeti. The keeper on the ground. You can see he's in the penalty area. By the looks of all the QPR players, it's in the attacking penalty area.
Yeah,
and with the keeper on the ground like that, you'd like to think the ball's about to go in. Yeah, of course. And I've just noticed. I've just highlighted who sent me that.
I think it's close to the club.
Let me just peel that back a bit.
All right, that's what we're going with. We're going with a Yeti, Fornals, Allaire, and Antonio.
Yeah. Do that. And that's a good.
Until we've been proven wrong, and then it's Allaire, Anderson, and Fornals.
Yeah.
So listen,
someone has asked, who would we pick? Who would be our first 11? I've given you, Mike. You took the piss out of my first 11, Nigel, because I ended up picking 14. So, who's your first 11, Nigel?
Fabianski, Creswell, Ogbonna, and Diop, and then I would play Fredericks, and then I would have Souček in the middle with Noble and Rice. I would have Bowen out wide, Antonio out wide, and Haller down the middle.
That's one too many, mate.
Not by my maths, it's not.
Hang on.
No, that's not.
I'm playing a 4-5-1 with a goalkeeper. Did I not say Fabianski? Yeah, Fabian. Yeah. So
come on, Stel.
Keep up, son.
Stel's a maths Maths teacher.
It
Listen,
was a maths teacher. Dear,
yeah.
oh dear.
Yeah. Listen,
He probably taught me because I'm really good at maths.
if you are watching this and you've never watched this before, make sure you subscribe so we can get to our 100 subscribers. Make sure you are watching and hit the thumbs up. Don't hit the thumbs down because we get really annoyed when you do the thumbs down.
Yeah.
But do the thumbs up anyway. We will be back with loads of content, and yeah, we're just gonna have a bit of fun with the content. To be honest, we're going to be doing watch-alongs, previews, reviews, God knows what, all different sorts of stuff. So make sure you tune in and listen to us or watch us watching the game.
Can I just point out something that I see someone say something that Moore is not my name. I'm not NK Moore, and I'm not a Dutchman, so I'm not more than just a podcast. So someone did say something about NK Moore, and I'm just thinking, yeah, that is not my name.
So just for anyone that doesn't know, we should know by now if you're watching. Nigel participates in more than just a podcast, and Nigel's also politely offered to do a show for Irons United once every couple of weeks.
Where's my contracts? Fucking hell. Let me get my agent on the phone. Sean. Fucking hell.
God, you don't want him as your agent.
Oh dear, mate. I'll tell you.
Listen,
right there.
West Ham won 4-1 friendly, first friendly during the COVID pandemic. And let's hope we have players fit for the game against Wolves next Saturday. So make sure you're tuning in. Do any of you guys want to say anything else before we head, or you want to stay on longer?
No, we don't want to stay on longer.
He's got. If we don't win the first game, that's all I'd say.
I would agree with that. But I'm confident that we might get something from the first game, even though it is Wolves. And I still think we'll get something from Spurs. We bring it on when we play Spurs, especially at their ground.
But don't you think we'll go down? Didn't you say that?
No, I don't think we will. I think by the skin of our teeth, I think we'll just about stay up by the skin of our teeth. Yeah.
Oh dear.
By the skin of our teeth. But there you go. There you go. No, I'll pay you more. I'm better. Yeah.
Dear, oh dear.
Right. I've been Anton. He's been Stel. He's been Nigel.
More.
Come on, you Irons.
Yeah.